Hey everybody, this is John at the top of the episode. I wanted to do a quick disclaimer before we get started. The views represented here are our views and our views alone. They do not represent that of our employers. To that end, please do not try and find our employers either. Thanks. Hi everyone, and welcome to seedpod, a podcast about the natural world. My name's John. I have AJ and Calvin with me. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well.
I'm doing all right. We're doing all right.
So now that we've gotten our tech issues out of the way for hopefully the entire podcast,
Don't
we're
jinx it.
time
Don't
guide.
jinx
Yeah,
it.
nope. Sorry, I'm knocking on
John's
wood.
just gonna, as the recording goes on, he's just gonna slowly inch his way back out to like a 10-second delay. But it's gonna be so gradual that we're not gonna know it until it's really bad.
It's either that or I will freeze solid because that time of recording, which is like 6 months in advance, it'll be -40 with a wind chill on Friday here, and I'm not prepared. So
It's podcast outside day.
Yeah.
This is what podcast outside day sounds like today.
oh god. Yeah. So not pretty. Anyways, so for today, we're going to try and be somewhat timely. We are going to talk about the Save Our Forest bill, which recently came back up in the news, at least in a couple of circles, because it got passed through to the Senate, I believe.
Yeah, the House passed it like a year ago.
Yeah.
And now it's like popped back up in the Senate. Did they change the name, or is it Fix Our Forests, or is it Save Our Forests now?
It's still Fix Our Forests, but believe you me, I think some staffer is going to find a way to like make a silly little acronym and get like the world's most hard erection, because I swear that's all those guys do.
Don't put that evil on us.
That doesn't spell anything as an acronym, so that's not.
And it
that's not
doesn't
gonna
smell
work
anything
for us.
plant related either.
No,
So,
no,
yeah.
no.
Okay, but no staffer could figure anything plant related. Let's be honest with ourselves.
That's true. Most of them have never seen a plant.
I don't know, but they find ways to make the stupidest, the CHIPS Act is the one. I imagine like some staff are just absolutely creaming their pants over figuring out a way to make a bill title into, it's like a chips, like a computer chips. And yeah, so anyways, so before we talk about that, it's time for our, shit. My brain's completely fried. It's time for our Forest Minute.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
Jay.
I'll go first. My Forest Minute is it's kind of a goofy one. Over the weekend, the long weekend, right? This was MLK weekend.
Don't
except
date
for
the
me, it
episode.
wasn't.
Don't let them know.
Oh, whatever.
It's fine.
I had to work Saturday, but it wasn't a bad work day. We had one of our youth hunts, which is not what it sounds like. So landowners that we've worked with will sometimes basically donate a guided quail hunt, and we don't raffle it off. We just randomly draw kids that apply for it, and then they get to go on a quail hunt. Most of these kids have never been on a guided quail hunt with dogs and all before. Sometimes we get kids that have like never even held a shotgun before, which is always a fun experience. But yeah, it was a fun day. Everybody got some birds.
Nice.
Nobody got shot that wasn't supposed to be.
Yep.
Always
So,
a good place to be.
We'll call that a win.
Mm-hmm.
I think three of the kids are like pretty hooked on it now. Like they were pretty pumped. There was one who I kind of got the sense that they were only there because Dad wanted them to go, but they still had fun. I just don't think they're gonna,
Stick with the program.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be like pushing to go on a quail hunt again. But yeah, it was a good day.
Good. I'm glad it worked out. Calvin?
Sticking the same theme, I had my last day of deer season this weekend. Again, not doing the episode because there's multiple deer seasons in Pennsylvania. So we had our last day of deer season, and I went out with a couple of friends, and we did our dangest to shoot them deer. All the deer walked away unharmed, unfortunately, But it was still fun to go out with the friends and try to do the thing. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, mine's also pretty chill. I had my first webinar of the year, and it was on beaver restoration, and I wasn't getting yelled at, and I even talked to a few landowners who were like, yeah, would be cool with like a CRP but for beaver program to keep them on my property to try and jumpstart some restoration. So yeah, it was a really nice little webinar. So I've got a bunch more talks that I got to do this year on the same subject, but yeah, it was a good first one, and I only went over my time limit by like 10 minutes. So
hey,
it's
not
pretty
bad.
good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is probably the fastest forest minute in under 5.
Hell yeah.
For us.
It is also like the dead of winter, so like our forest minutes just have to be fast because it sucks being outside right now.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Anyways, try not to think about it. So next up is our invasive of the week. Calvin, I think you had.
So our invasive of the week are nilgai. So
What now?
I don't think you can say that word.
Yeah.
I can say that word. Nilgai or Bosphemous. Oh, sorry. Bosphemous triacamelus.
Sure.
Which means blue cow.
Is it a cow?
No, it's an antelope.
Is it
and-
blue?
Well, it is
maybe?
actually a cow, but yeah, it is a cow. It's in
I was
it's in the
gonna say, it's-
bovine.
It's the weirdest looking creature I've ever seen.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull up a picture.
So
of
like imagine like a deer and a
this. What the
and a
hell?
cow.
Yeah, dude. Are you looking at the Wikipedia page?
Yeah. So
Yes.
imagine a,
It's if a deer was a cow but also a donkey.
yeah. Yep. Also that. I was gonna say a horse because if you look at the females like definitely got some horse in them. The males look like a deer and a cow had a kid, and then the females like a deer and like a small horse have a kid, but they have like
Yeah.
also kind of the color pattern of a donkey.
But, and then also like, just a skosh of oh fuck, what's the word? Microcephalism,
Yep.
Tiny
yeah,
head.
The small
Oh,
head disease.
yeah.
right? Tiny. They get tiny heads. They get
yep.
teeny little heads.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a baffling looking animal.
So depending on how you slice it, it is a cow, but it's also an antelope because antelopes are in Bovidae. So it's a really strange animal to look at. Listener, I would encourage you to, while you're driving, put your foot down on the gas, and then take out the largest phone that you have. If you have a computer nearby, that's better. And then just look up nilgai. It's not spelled how you would expect it is. It's Nilgai, because this is an Indian. It's a Hindu word that's been anglicized, so it doesn't spell well. So this is a pretty large antelope. They get about 5 feet tall, and they can weigh a little bit over 600 pounds. So they get pretty big. The males are about 200 pounds bigger on average. The males are about 200 pounds larger than the females. The females are a nice tan brown, whereas the males are like a blue gray, and they have a weird hump to them, and they just kind of look like an isosceles triangle. You guys see it? You see it? It's like an isosceles triangle. Like the front
You're
of
not
them is
wrong.
large and the back of them is small.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the world's weirdest bodybuilder, but was a deer, antelope, buffalo, cow, antelope hybrid.
And they skip
It's
leg day.
just a real
I was gonna say I
Yeah.
scrolled down to the photo of them running, and it's like it looks like an antelope running, right? Like the antelope do the bounding.
Yeah, they're just strange.
Yeah.
They're strange to look at. So this antelope is native to the Indian subcontinent. So that would be the country of India and a little bit into a little bit into the neighboring countries over there. It's very common in the Indian subcontinent. So very common animal over there. Found across a wide variety of habitat. It likes, our forbs and our grasses, but it eats woody plants just fine. It eats pretty, it's kind of like a deer. It eats a lot of stuff. So very common animal in India, though it is thought to be extinct in Bangladesh. Now, why we are calling this an invasive species is because it was introduced into the state of Texas, or
Of course.
better pronounced Tejas. That's how I like to call it, because that's, Tejas. So it was introduced into Texas by Caesar Kleinberg. Caesar Kleinberg.
Clyburg.
Kleiberg. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Screw him. He's Texan. Who cares? He's an owner and operator of the King Ranch in Texas, which, if you know anything about, if you're a big ranch head, the King Ranch is one of the largest ranches in the world. At the time, they had 825,000
Holy
acres
shit.
in South Texas. There's also,
cow.
I think F-150 has a. They're currently the largest ranch in the United States. I think there's a King Ranch version of the F-150.
Yeah, it's
the F-850 child killer.
No, it's like one of the stupid expensive trim levels. Like, like I don't know. There's all the other one. There, it's like you can get a Dodge whatever that's Alaska edition or Kodiak edition. Like King Ranch is one of those.
Yeah. Anyway, so this guy was kind of into wildlife conservation. They call him the father of wildlife conservation in Texas. Is what I'm going to put it at. But anyway, he brought these.
Are we gonna declare him an enemy of the podcast?
I'm going to declare. I don't know enough about him to declare him enemy of the podcast, but
I honestly, the only reason I know the name is because of it's also the wildlife school at Texas A&M.
That sounds about right.
Caesar Kleberg Wildlife Research Institute or whatever.
that sounds about right. It seems like he was pretty stacked with cash.
Yeah.
Okay, so he brought these bad boys in to his ranch to hunt.
Of course he did. Why wouldn't he?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so then some other guys, some other Texans were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And so they kind of spread around Texas a little bit, and then they escaped rapidly, and they are now established in Texas.
Yeah.
So this brings up a really fun conversation to be had about Texas wildlife. So in Texas, Texas is one of the few states where you have high fence ranches, and inside of those ranches, anything that you put in the high fence is considered agriculture, and so these imports are not considered wildlife. They're if you have like an animal in a high fence, it's considered livestock, and so it's run by the Department of Ag. Longer conversation for a different time, but that's why there's so many weird stuff in Texas. Texas being kind of similar climate to India, the nilgai escape and are now all over Texas.
Cool.
So that's a light introduction to them. The damage they do, they eat a lot of stuff. These are very large animals. Again, they can weigh up to 600 pounds. So they eat all kinds of stuff and displace all kinds of native wildlife, especially considering that Texas is a desert. So having a large animal that eats all kinds of stuff in a desert is pretty hard on all the plants in the native ecosystem.
I mean, it's not all desert.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some pine forest.
I was gonna say there's pine woods and tall grass or short grass prairie, and
We're really looking for reasons to call it not a desert.
We are trying hard.
Okay, so these are ecosystems that are in very small that are easily disturbed, and so
Yes.
it's very important to not try to screw them up with a very large antelope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one of the concerns. Other concerns is they can be a source of brucellosis, which can be problems for cattle ranchers. They displace native wildlife, and they drink a lot of water. So big concerns there. Just a light introduction to nilgai. They're also called blue bull.
They look kind
Or
of blue,
bulls,
like
yeah.
gray. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how do you guys think they are managed in Texas?
Not well.
not.
Correct. They are managed just in many ranches. They're managed for trophy hunting, or like you come in and you buy a hunt. You're not necessarily. I mean, a lot of times you try to shoot the biggest nilgai you can find, but you're coming in to shoot. You're coming in from like Nebraska to shoot a nilgai, or you own a 100,000 acre ranch in Texas, and you're like, yeah, I want to shoot a big nilgai. So they're not managing them to get rid of them. They're managing them as one would a species, a game species. So that's not great. Yeah. I don't think that they're going to be eradicated because there are a lot of them that are sought after on high fences. Also, it's, an antelope, so they breed pretty quickly. They only have one young a year. Well, one young per 8 to 9 months, but they're pretty fecund and they can do pretty well. The other fun thing about nilgai, from what I've read about them, is they're kind of bullet sponges, so it does take a lot to kill these things.
So they've developed a resistance to gun. That's great.
Well, that's one of the things that makes them sought after. They're, hard to kill. I will say, this is air quotes, hard to kill Texas style, because a lot of Texas hunting is, I sit in tower and shoot deer when they come to feeder.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the nilgai.
Cool. I have another reason to have, issues with big game safari type bullshit. So
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't just bring
stop.
wild things like
Go to
places
India and
they
do it
shouldn't
over
be.
there. They'll probably be cheaper too.
Yeah. Honestly.
The flight may be a bit more pain in the butt, but still.
Yeah.
And you get to experience better food, so or different food, I guess.
Tex-Mex
Barbecue's
can
pretty great.
Tex-Mex can rip, man.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. That and some really good barbecue. I was like, it's just different. Anyways, cool. So that's everything on our opening matters, I guess. The next thing was onto the main story. I guess it's a story. So it's kind of like
It's
our
kind
first
of a story.
Yeah, it's our first like current event ish thing.
Wait. That's my news stinger.
Let's hope that news stinger came through, and if it does, and we continue to do like a news segment, I'm clipping that out, Calvin, and we're to use that every single time.
No, we have to do it differently
Congratulations.
every single time, just to be weird.
Yeah, so we are going to do basically a read through of the Save Our Forests, Fix Our Forests, Fix Our Forests Act. The reason why I chose to do this for one of my episodes is that my wife got a frantic email from one of the wilderness and wildlife groups that she supports, saying like, "Oh my God, it's going to gut the national forest system and all that jazz. It's gonna remove all of this stuff and make it." So you can do 1,000-acre clear cuts on national forest property out west. And I was like, okay, that's not great. But also, as Calvin brought up when we were looking at this last year, it also has a bunch of stuff about White Oak Initiative. And it has a whole bunch of... It's got a whole bunch of actually good stuff in here. And some stuff...
It's kind of a grab bag.
And just
really
some
is.
weird... There's some crank shit.
There's a lot of like little weird modifications of other like legislation.
Yeah.
And it's
so,
like I said, it's a grab bag bill. I mean, and that's like what a lot of these are. There's always going to be some really stupid shit, some really good shit, and then a lot of just weird stuff that we're like, I don't know why we're bothering with that.
Yes. And so we are going to so we're going to do kind of flip through some of the major points of it, kind of discuss good stuff, bad stuff, things we'd change, all as much as we can. I will say we're not really going to talk about anything that has to do with NEPA or the National Environmental Policy Act, just because that alone is probably a 5-part series.
I mean, we can do a very quick. Just a very quick surface level. National Environmental Policy Act is a piece of legislation that governs what federal agencies have to do before they do any kind of, what they call an action, which is any kind of management or, permitting issued on federal land, or anytime the feds want to spend money on federal land or want to spend federal money, period.
Yep.
NEPA comes into play.
Unless you're
DOD.
Yeah, unless you're DOD, ICE now, or DHS. Yeah, you have to have exceptions to NEPA, but these do exist.
And essentially NEPA is a good piece of legislation, but it has no teeth. All it says is that an agency has to consider the impacts, the environmental impacts of whatever they're planning to do. They don't have to minimize. They don't have to, not. There's nothing that says they have to take a certain decision. They don't have to minimize negative impacts or anything. They just have to. They can't say they didn't know. If they decide to do something and it fucks something up, an agency can't say they didn't know because NEPA said that they had to look at everything. And that's fundamentally what it's about. It's a piece of legislation that is geared towards shaming agencies into doing the right thing.
Yeah, basically it allows them to get their asses sued in court, and basically allows you to bog down the bureaucracy with more bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying bureaucracy with a bad word. It's just like that is what the fourth branch of government is called, is the federal bureaucracy. Like that's just
the really good thing that NEPA does, I would say, is it also forces agencies to have a public comment period. So the public can actually know what an agency's planning to do before they do it, and then it can say, no, we fucking hate this, don't do it. And that actually works sometimes. Yeah. On the other hand, NEPA can be a giant pain in the ass to deal with for doing good things. It absolutely prevents good work from.
And I'm going to say, I'm going to put a bow on this. Is we're going to tie it back into. A lot of it, at least the perceived issue, is that it doesn't allow rapid response to forest management, specifically in the western United States when dealing with wildfire. It doesn't prevent deployment of fire management resources, but it slows down the ability to do forest management. So timber harvesting, fuels, prescribed fire, all that sort of stuff. It slows down doing that, which is urgently needed. I think every single natural resources person in the United States would say, we've got a backlog of stuff to do. And there are a multitude of reasons of why it's not getting done. But part of it is it takes a lot of bureaucracy, not necessarily bad bureaucracy, but just a lot of bureaucracy to get stuff done for a lot of these projects. So with that, because we are actually going to try and keep this sucker moving pretty quickly, we're going to get into it. I've sent you guys the link to the project if you want to follow along. The portion of the law that we're looking at really only starts about halfway down because they crossed out basically everything in the House version and said we're going to do something completely different.
I love it.
I love how laws work in the United States sometimes. So, first thing, we're going to talk about landscape scale restoration and the concept of a fire shed. Do you guys know what they're talking about when they're meaning fire sheds?
Yeah, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Why don't you like it, Calvin?
I just think, come on, dude. These are just, forests. These are just forests. These are stands. This is already a thing that we have. This is just some fire science bullshit. You just need to invent a term to invent a term.
And AJ?
I don't hate the idea of a fire shed, but the way that they do it doesn't really make any sense.
Fire is different than water. Just come up with a different thing.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that, but I also think in the Western United States, using a watershed model makes sense. In a lot of places, using a watershed is a really nice, easy organizational unit, and turns out you can make them pretty damn big. As long as you don't cross the continental divide, you can include as many watersheds as possible. I don't really think that a specific fire shed is really needed. Just do watersheds and then break it into stands like you have been doing for the past however many years.
Well,
that's my 2 cents.
It's Forest Service issue, so it hasn't been doing.
Got him, coach.
Yeah. It's the fire shed thing is just it's they just wanted a larger unit size to talk about, essentially.
Counterpoint is you've got there are multiple hydrological unit classification codes. Just pick a bigger one, we have that. My opinion is watersheds are a really easy organizational thing to do. But now that's just, they want to organize this whole restoration program basically along the lines of fire sheds. And an important little note is that designating a fire shed it will not be subject to any NEPA requirements. So I'm not really sure how this would interact if you're just like drawing lines on a map, but that could be part of the reason why people freak out.
Yeah, I don't see how that would make a difference.
Yep.
Either one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, because fundamentally, what a fire shed is, we never really explained what it is. It's the Forest Service saying this is a chunk of land that is subject to a different likelihood of wildfire than the next chunk of land, and we're talking 250,000 acres or something, 100,000 acre chunks is what they're talking about. And so they've pulled data from a whole bunch of sources and looked at wildfire frequency and severity and community vulnerability and a whole bunch of shit.
One way when it gets in this area.
Yeah.
So a common example that I know of is the Front Range in Colorado. It's like you've got the little bit next to the cities, and then you have the foothills, and then you have the highland forest and stuff like that. And so like they're managing each of those as like basically one contiguous fire shed. I don't. It seems like it's working. They're getting a lot of prescribed fire on the ground.
If you look at the map, because they do have a map. Of fire sheds in the U.S. and there's 7,688 of them.
Jesus, I thought it was way less than that.
No. Like we're talking like these are smaller than counties, significantly smaller than counties in most states. And it's like I said, the average is 250,000 acres for a single fire shed. Now, if you look at the map, a whole bunch of them are all the same color because. A whole bunch of them all kind of burn the same. Like Nebraska, for example.
Yeah.
There are only 2 fire sheds in the entire state that are a different color than the others.
Yeah, makes sense.
So,
though.
like,
it's all tall grass prairie or sand prairie.
Right. So, but like, why do they need to have 100 of them in there then? They could just have one big one, and it's the state of Nebraska. But yeah, so that's fundamentally what they're talking about with a fire shed. So they're just talking about being able to designate and say this is the such and such fire shed, and we need to do some special management in this fire shed versus the next one over.
So we'll go on to the next one is the Wildland Fire Intelligence Center. I think this is Calvin's bugbear, I guess. So basically, this will create a joint office to serve federal and non-federal entities that will do coordination and intelligence gathering, I guess. But
John,
we just called that research.
that one's crossed out.
Yeah.
I'm literally looking at it right now, and it's not
Wait,
crossed
why
out.
is it not? It fucking was.
It's Section 102, Wildland Fire Intelligence
Oh my
Center.
God, why is my fucking computer being so stupid? Section 102 is crossed out for me.
Are you like halfway down the document?
Yeah, you got to scroll
no.
way down the document.
I'm at the different one that's there's
one
two
that-
sections. There's 2 section 102s, and the first one is crossed out.
Again.
And the second one is not.
Again, I don't know what the changes are. I don't have time to read 400 pages
Okay,
of law.
It's fine. And we can cut that shit.
Yeah. Nope, that's fine. So, anyways, it creates a federal science agency, or not federal science agency, a federal Wildland Fire Intelligence Center to distribute data, collect data, mapping, provide consultation service, support active and post-fire activities at all scales, going from single towns and counties all the way up to national level. It will maintain the fireshed registry, maintain and assist with the creation of evacuation plans, public power shutoffs, mitigation and response strategies, assist with mitigating at-risk communities, consolidating air quality data and forecast data, develop real-time data to inform first responders and firefighters. Oh man, work with tribal governments to do all of the same, coordinate with and this is crazy to me, the National Wildfire Coordinating Group, to develop and improve wildfire preparedness curricula, do a whole bunch of engagement and stuff like that. More importantly, in my opinion, there's no money allocated to this.
Yeah. Also,
Forest
this
Service
is just called the Forest Service. Like, the Forest Service already does almost all of this.
Yeah, but they don't have a cool name, Calvin. Have you thought about how it's now the Department of War?
No, yeah, it's so yeah. They're basically saying that the funding is coming from the Forest Service, DOI, and USGS, and like fundamentally, I don't have a problem with this because we have the National Wetlands Research Center in Lafayette, or well, they changed it. It's Wetlands and Aquatic something Center now, but like we have these around the country for specific research topics, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like, so that's a model that already exists, and I don't have a problem with having a National Wildfire Intelligence Center. It's it's not a bad idea. It's maybe not 100% necessary, but I don't know. Maybe it'll help.
So I thought that was I thought there was a national. Isn't NWCG the National Wildfire Coordinating Group? Does that do similar stuff up in Idaho,
all
or is that
NWCG is more about coordinating like training qualifications and making sure everyone's up to same standards. So like in previous episodes we talked about like RXB2s, like prescribed burners type 2.
Yep.
Yeah, burn boss type 2, yada yada. NWCG is what comes up with that. NWCG is what decides safety standards that clothing needs to meet.
Gotcha.
That kind of shit. They don't have a building. They don't have. It's not, and this sounds like they're wanting to make it a physical location.
I think so. Yeah.
To be the headquarters for this kind of research and coordinating and whatnot. NWCG is kind of just a representatives from various agencies, essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but if we're gonna make this like its own unique thing, then it needs to have money.
Yep.
You can't just say, "Hey, you guys who don't have money right now, throw money at this new thing."
Yeah. No,
that
and that
just doesn't work.
That's the biggest thing. It's like, okay, are you just gonna chunk off the wildland fire budget from Forest Service and Interior and I guess the USGS for some I understand why, but just a chunk of their budget as well, and just make it a different department? Or to me, just like it makes sense just to keep it in the Forest Service, just put it under the umbrella, like just officially make the Forest Service have the Forest Management Division and the Fire Division.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and then like with the outreach stuff, like there's a lot of people who are doing the outreach. So I'm fine with there being like a specific thing that does outreach, but like also like extension services do a lot of this outreach. Like in the Forest Service, the Forest Service has contracts with various states to do outreach. Through like the Service Force, there's programs. So like a lot of this stuff already exists, and we could expand those programs. We don't have to like make up a new thing. And if you're gonna make up a new thing, you have to give it money. You can't just like invent something and then just say, "Yep, there it is. Go get them, boys."
Yeah,
they need
I think
resources.
that's my biggest thing is you're just expecting it to come out, whole cloth maybe, and with a budget that's already strained from Forest Service. Like Forest Service has to borrow money from other departments to pay the fire bill, and that's just the first responder type fire bill, not the preparedness and preparation side of the fire. So that's my main problem with it. I understand the need, like you're saying, AJ, but I just don't understand the organizational thing of how it's supposed to work. Is it also going to be dealing with like dispatching crews around the country and management allocation there? Or is it just going to be like research and other resources?
Yeah, that was my next question. What is fire intelligence? We're gonna get out there. We're just like gonna start, doing enhanced interrogation on the fire. Like, hey,
I think this is more so like there's all these modeling. There's all these programs that we use to like model smoke and fire behavior and all that kind of stuff. And the federal agencies mostly just do that in house. And I think they're gonna probably try to get this center to be doing a lot more of that.
That's what I figured, but it was so much funner to think of it like, oh yeah, it's It's the intelligence center.
Yeah, we're gonna drop spies behind enemy lines in the black, I guess, or maybe the pre-burned area.
Look, we've been waterboarding wildfires for a long time, and it
what are
doesn't really work.
What are smoke jumpers if not the CIA of the fire world? No,
They already have a big enough
No,
ego. You don't have to give
they
them
can
more.
actually be effective sometimes, though.
Okay, so moving swiftly along, I think that one is probably one of the major changes. I think all three of us are kind of like
Tepid. I'm tepid.
Tepid at best, or AJ, how would you? Yeah.
Honestly, I think really how I'm going to feel about it is going to depend on how the whole like National Wildland Fire Service or whatever the fuck they're calling that plays out.
That's not in this bill when I was looking at it.
Yeah,
it's not, but I've also like heard that the agencies themselves are starting to move people around, and like I don't know.
That's a different conversation. Let's
somewhere.
Yeah.
That's another conversation. Gonna happen.
So yeah, like maybe that's where the money's gonna come from, because like the Forest Service isn't gonna have a wildland fire budget anymore, so that money for them can go to the Fire Intelligence Center, because they don't have to pay their firefighters anymore because they're all under the national.
Well, the Forest Service never had
Fire
wildland firefighters. They have technicians.
Oh god.
So
Okay.
No, we're
they
not
don't
doing
have
that.
firefighters. Just jot that down.
Yep, they are all forestry techs.
Yep.
Anyways,
They are firefighters type 2 or 1 or whatever. They're firefighters.
I think they just renamed them. Before they had not been firefighters. Okay. Anyway, I'm just getting pedantic because
you're being a turd. Yeah. We're moving swiftly along.
Yeah. No. I'd say I'm like cautiously optimistic if the funding isn't fucking up other people's work, which it seems like it probably will be. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So looks like moving swiftly along, we're now talking about fire shed assessments. Basically, it's just talking about like assessing. It's developing a wildlife strategy for that specific fire shed. Which, yeah, fair enough.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, on board for it. And it looks like
sounds good to me.
Yeah, and it's gonna incorporate existing plans. Awesome. I like it. Let's keep moving. It actually acknowledges that we're including traditional ecological knowledge from quote Indian tribes.
Great. I am amazed that is still in there.
Yep. Given the history of this administration, I'm surprised they didn't immediately throw that out the window. So, and then we're just going to continue to deal with streamlining, just kind of like not emergency declaration, but emergency management within the fire shed. So this may be something that comes up a little bit more, but basically it allows them to use category exclusions in a fire shed to carry out management, which I believe is something you can already do in any of you can already use a category exclusion after a fire, or even in preparation of a fire.
So for the listeners, a categorical exclusion it's basically a mechanism where an agency establishes this is a thing that we've checked on already, and we don't need to go through the whole NEPA process because we've done it before in this other scenarios, and we've decided this is good enough. And there's you can get them kind of approved, but it's also just something that can be written into law. It's essentially something that an agency doesn't have to go through NEPA. Essentially,
a classic example that was taught to me was you're digging a new latrine pit at Yellowstone National Park or something like that. You do not need to go through the entire NEPA process to dig a whole new latrine pit. Something that literally takes 10 years sometimes. You could just say, nope, this is CADEX. We're just going to dig a new latrine pit. It moves forward.
Another one is real common is like previously disturbed ground. Essentially, often will have a categorical exclusion because like it's already been plowed, 18 inches deep or whatever. Like there's no sensitive species there anymore, and there's no cultural resources of concern because if there were, those also got plowed under. We don't need to worry about it. So
that's a pretty common one in Iowa for when we're using federal funds. It's like if it's been tilled for the past, since the 1980s, basically, it's you can do pretty much whatever because you've kicked up all of the Native American artifacts, either ground them into dust or they're down the Mississippi at this point.
And to bring it back to the fire stuff, actually, because this hits me in my part of the world. Fire breaks when
Yes.
I'm using federal programs, to do cost share stuff for private landowners. That's all subject to NEPA.
Yep.
Because
fire breaks.
There, you just take a dozer. You just doze in a straight line usually.
That's if you're using you're gonna love this, Calvin. If it's a quote new fire break, and the way that they decide it's a new fire break is that the equipment uses tracks. If
What?
it's a tracked dozer, it's a new fire break, and it's not it's categorically excluded for a lot of things, but specifically cultural resources still has to go through that process because it's brand new according to the feds, even though it very
That's
well
so funny.
may
That
not be brand new.
explains-
But if you use rubber tired equipment, so if you have a dozer blade on something with
skidder,
rubber
yeah.
tires, it's not.
So that explains. I was like trying to figure out like how to do a site preparation treatment. That was one of the things I was going to do to get rid of this whole invasive brush that had killed. And I was like, so this is a perfect site for dozing. I just need to run it over with a dozer real quick. It's like 2 days of work for one guy rather than me having to cut everything down and move it around or whatever. And so many red flags popped up at the local equip office that they're like, you want to do what? And you're not touching anything with a dozer. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not. I strike this, pull on the project. Yeah. So it was, and it was like anyone with a tracked vehicle, was what they were finding. Anyways, okay, continuing to move swiftly along. So the next step is a whole bunch of Healthy Forest Restoration Act amendments, and this is where we're not going to try, but we're skipping.
Well, we don't want to go over that in paragraph 2 by striking
Yep.
450B and inserting 5304 and by adding at the end.
So this is where the reading comprehension test and like, okay, I need to know another 500 pages of federal law and federal code comes in. Basically, it changes some stuff and probably makes it a little bit easier. I just saw something for greater sage grouse and less at the bottom here, and I have no idea what that means, but my gut says nothing particularly good if it's mentioning greater sage grouse. But I don't know.
Whatever. It seems like they changed an and statement to an or statement. So I think it probably has to do with some part of that legislation. You needed to benefit greater sage grouse and some other thing, and now it can be sage grouse or the other thing.
It's relating to the categorical exclusion for greater sage grouse habitat and mule deer habitat. So I'm not going to dive too much into it. It was probably nothing good. I'm going to be honest, but it's changing something related to that. That's just what my quick reading on that is. Anyways, we're going to keep on trucking through. So we're going to jump down to subtitle B, explaining collaborative tools to reduce wildfire risk and improve forest health. So far, it doesn't make a whole bunch of big changes. Again, we're going back to this these previous acts and adding or and on and all this other stuff.
You know what? Actually, because I have brain damage, I did just look. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
It literally just is. It can benefit sage grouse or mule deer, not sage grouse and mule deer. So like, whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
it's
yeah,
it's fine.
probably fine. Yep. So we're gonna keep going. We're talking about fixing stewardship end result contracting. I have no idea. I mean, I know what a stewardship contract is in the federal sense. I don't. It looks like this. So stewardship contracts are extraordinarily long-term contracts to generate forest products as a result of restoration work. What I know them in the context of is a Southwest fuels reduction plan. Like it was, thousands of acres of fuels reduction in high elevation ponderosa pine forest in northern Arizona.
Great.
Basically, it looks like. Yeah, it's a good idea, and it looks like it's giving the contractor more time to complete it because guess what? No one wants shitty high elevation ponderosa pine, and getting rid of that material is difficult.
Yeah,
So,
there are
hey,
even
there's
sawmills like in a lot of Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada.
I think there's like
and
2.
Utah.
Like,
Yeah, there's not.
And, I
there's
mean,
not a lot.
There's no market for that stuff.
yeah, no, exactly. And so, like, hey, capitalism, problema es capitalismo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, any Spanish language folks. Yeah, hey, turns out having no sawmills and you need to get rid of it to fund it. Everyone gets what I'm trying to get at. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
The free market
next-
says that it's going to burn.
Oh, well, shit, guys. I guess it's time to go home. Pack it up. Next one, section 113. I included this one because it looked, sounded cool. Fireshed Management Project Strike Team. Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, airdrop them.
Look, the wildland fire guys already get too tactical for my for my taste.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I assuming it's just trying
We're
to
not
like
doing
pack.
more operator wildland firefighter shit, are we?
Basically, so I mean, I was a part of the timber strike team for a region in the Forest Service, and it basically just means you don't have to keep a timber marking crew on staff or hire a timber marking crew. You just kind of keep professionals on that just get rotated to every district and gets dropped in on a project, complete it, and move on to the next one. It's fine. It's fine. We're just doing keep on going. Collaborative forest landscape restoration program.
Sick.
Awesome. It just changes a lot of language that I don't have the brain space to think about. Okay. This is one of the things that I don't like is utilizing grazing for wildfire risk reduction.
Yeah.
So
no, this is a
stupid.
ridiculous and stupid thing. People keep trying to make
So-
this a thing. It's not a thing. Stop it.
So yeah, basically trying to. We have a lot of rangelands that are grazed in the western United States.
Okay, I saw
they're
fucking cows in
overgrazed.
Sequoia National Forest in
Yeah.
between Kings Canyon and Sequoia National Park. That's high elevation.
Yep. That's high elevation. It grows slowly. There's always an invasive grass. Guess what? Invasive grass tend to be the least palatable thing in the ecosystem. These ecosystems also just take, in general, a beating to grazing at such high cow densities. Cows, 9 times out of 10, will just stand in a creek if it's above a certain temperature the entire time. They don't, and there's no wolf pressure or very little wolf pressure because guess what? These guys get, can request to shoot anything that's not a coyote. Well, no, they'll ask to shoot coyotes too. So shoot anything that's a predator. They get a dirt cheap grazing lease as well.
It's literally $1 a head a month.
Yeah,
It's free. Each free.
It's basically free, and when anyone tells you they're, Western ranchers live by, the fruits of their labor, ain't wrong.
No.
They actually live by the fruits of your land that you, as an entity, or not an entity, as a citizen of the United States, own. So yeah, no, they can suck a duck.
Yep.
I'm anti-grazing. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
The vegetarian is anti-grazing.
If grazing prevented wildfire, we wouldn't have wildfires in the Western United States because all of the Forest Service is required to graze where possible, and actually that's all all of the fed land, and so it doesn't work. Cows, in fact, don't eat logs.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up.
It's
Is
crazy.
Think about all these, destructive destructive wildfires out west. What's driving that? It's definitely the grasses, right? That's the problem.
I mean, cheatgrass can be a problem, but yeah.
Well, cheatgrass can be a
I'm
problem,
being
yeah.
silly. I'm being pedantic.
But that's not the dangerous fuel load.
Yeah.
Is the grass that the cows are gonna eat? No, it's all the fucking woody stuff. Come on.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. If it worked, we wouldn't have wildland fire in the Western United States because they've been grazed since the 1800s.
And we wouldn't have it in places that are, more heavily grazed as well.
Or places that used to have buffalo,
Yeah.
which is the whole eastern United States and southeastern United States and a lot of the western United States.
Yeah. And yes. So it's stupid. That is, of all the stuff that we've read through so far, that's the biggest thing so far that I'm just like, no, get that right out. This is the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't know. I'm kind of excited to hear about subsection E, an integrated use of advanced technologies to dynamically adjust livestock placement, because that sounds to me like we're going to be picking up cows with drones and dropping them
that's what it
places.
sounds like.
Actually, yes. I think that actually, no. We're using AI, and AI is just going to like herd it automatically into the fire because that means it's pre-cooked for making my steak or someone
There we
else's
go.
steak, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
To quickly do meme recap, I saw a very funny meme, which is like in the heart of every American farmer is like a socialist, and in the heart of every American cattle rancher is somebody who's just looking to destroy the world around them.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
The discussion next turns to, I'll say, better things. Water source protection program. Basically, making sure that we at least maintain our water resources. National forest systems are the primary source for water for a lot of Western communities because it's a very dry ecosystem. I didn't see anything that raised any red flags on there when I was flipping through it.
No.
Hey, basically, we got to keep water capacity there.
Water,
Fair enough.
good.
Water, turns out water is needed, and most people are on board with that, except in the state of Iowa, where they want to try and give you cancer.
And trees is good for water.
And trees is good for water. Again, counter to every single person in Iowa that says, no, the corn will do the same thing as a tree or a prairie.
This makes
Anyways.
me mad. Don't say that.
That's a different episode. Several episodes, in fact. Anyways, establishment of regional wildland fire research centers. I thought these existed. I thought we had one in each state, and it's called a land-grant university.
Yeah, but they don't all do fire. It's like, everybody's research priority is a little bit different. I'm okay with it, but again, it's got to come with
I'm fine
money.
with that.
Yeah, it's got to come with money. And also, every state doesn't need one. Like, come on, Nebraska, what are you doing?
Well, yeah,
Iowa,
exactly.
you
Well,
need a research center in Iowa? Come on now.
Yeah, probably not. But like, I'm thinking of the Western United States, like specifically. I'm Colorado, Wyoming, Nevada, like the Western United States. I'm picturing them primarily. Like they all, any of their ecological sciences program have at least a couple of folks already.
And actually,
doing
here
stuff.
I skimmed through it, and they're saying select not fewer than 8 institutions of higher education or land grant universities.
Oh, so this would
established. So,
this would be like
so
the
they're
wildlife
talking about
areas.
putting them at schools.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
This
this is perfect.
This is
that's
like the
what you
wildlife
I think-
units.
want. One in Alaska, one in California, Pacific Northwest, Pacific Islands. Okay.
Oh, we're
Damn.
being
Plains
woke
and
about it. I
Northeast,
like it.
Rockies, Southeast, Southwest.
Don't-
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I think more or less we're all on board for it. It also to me is like that's also like to a certain extent Forest Service units, like like their districts or not districts but regions. Yeah. Anyways,
So like a similar thing kind of exists with the wildlife research units. So you have USGS units that are in that are established in universities. So it works. It's great.
The cooperative research units.
Yeah, they're great.
okay, yeah. So awesome.
But it's
I
gotta
think
come
I
with
think
money.
we're
Again.
Yeah, again, I think a lot of this. I'm giving a whole thing on a talking like a.
Well, and yeah,
restoration.
there was the whole thing where a lot of people's advisors at the CRUs got forcibly retired.
Yeah.
Well, or all your
recently.
grant money disappeared.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oopsies. So the next thing is contracts, grants, and agreements to carry out restoration activities. I will come back to this in a little bit. There's a whole bunch about trying to get local contractors to do the work. I think we can all talk about
it's
that
fine.
significantly as well.
I mean, also like your contract was probably going to be done by a local guy because it's usually not worth enough to not.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No. So that's one of the things is that they're specifically going to try and get more local contractors within a local area rather than migrant workers, because in the Western United States, most of the forestry work is done by migrant workers because white people don't want to do it, and the Forest Service can't pay enough money as well.
Okay, so we did it racist style.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So-
don't like that. That's not nice.
Like it may be, and there are probably going to be ways to get around with it where it's you have an American representing an agency that recruits visa applicants from Central America, Mexico, and you as a white guy in the office, yeah, you are the American that represents everyone else, but you're still getting migrant laborers from south of the border to come in. But also, who's after the past, has it been a year or less of the administration, blackbagging people? Who's going to want to run the risk of coming here? I don't know. So that's
Yeah, but that's just how most of forced contracting works, anyways. Right now, is like you have, like a white guy who is the face of the operation, and then they probably like, especially in planning operations, like that's,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. It's basically outside of the eastern United States, like a small chunk of the eastern United States. It's all migrant laborers of varying degrees. So, anyways, that's. I think we can kind of talk more about labor and all that sort of stuff as a separate episode, but it's something to think about. Litigation reform. So this one in particular ties to NEPA, and I was just going to save that for a different episode because I just didn't want to think too much about it. So I'm going to switch all the way down to subtitle D on prescribed fire, and specifically talking about, hey, our friend Cultural Burning makes a show back, makes an appearance again. But more importantly, it talks about trying to do prescribed burns on non-federal land, nearby federal land, with with Native American tribes, with local governments, like actually doing collaborative forest restoration. And more important than all of that is that firefighters and specifically burn bosses will not be held accountable if they follow the best, or not held accountable, but held subject to threats
liability?
of suing if liability. Yeah. So you're not going to get sued if for whatever reason, wind comes out of nowhere, or 6 weeks later a windstorm kicks up after you have put it out to the best of your abilities, and sparks start flying again.
This is incredibly relevant because there's that burn boss in Oregon that was like really getting hemmed up by shit. So,
and there's a bunch in the Southwest, and particularly in New Mexico. I want to say New Mexico. I could be really wrong.
That was a bad one that happened there.
Yeah, but like he got basically strung up because a fire jumped lines, and he did everything he was supposed to do, but at the same time we are literally playing with fire, and like there's only so much you can do. And this is a classic case of everybody wants everything done, and if they don't, they want prescribed fire done, but they want to done where there's no smoke, no heat, no no black, no nothing, and God forbid it gets out of a little bit out of control. So trying to extend more liability to prescribed fire managers is super important, and I'm glad it's in here. It probably could be more, but I this is one thing that I really appreciate.
This is great.
This is really good stuff.
Yeah, I already have this because of state law, and I'm not a federal burner. And our state law is actually awesome for that. But it's really good to see that for the feds, because that's been a huge issue.
It's super annoying that we have to have that too. By the way,
I love qualified immunity for prescribed fire. That's
I know it's just annoying that we have to
don't deserve it.
Down.
No.
But ACAB does not include burn bosses.
No, God, no.
It's the official stance of the pod.
Oh yeah. So it does actually a lot on the federal level. It does a lot of really good stuff for trying to get more prescribed fire on the ground, and that's actually one of the things I think this law does really, really well. It tries to get as much fire within the context of federal lands as possible. It tries to rope in local groups, NGOs, native tribes, state agencies, all that sort of stuff to try and do it, because one of the things that we know is if you've got good land that's been prepped appropriately after fire has been removed, and you reintroduce fire, that's one of the best long-term ways to maintain it. And this is probably the best part of the law so far.
This may actually fix part of the forest.
That one actually, that may actually do stuff. Again, I would like to see maybe a couple extra $1 billion thrown into the Forest Service budget to do it. Or Christ, I mean, if it helps get stuff done into the fire fire department budget, the National Fire Department budget. I don't know.
I don't know what they're calling themselves.
Yeah,
it
whatever.
doesn't matter.
Anything, yeah. So I'm gonna skip through the at-risk community stuff. It basically, it basically starts trying to get more community defense programs, fire-wise,
Great.
fire-safe
We love to see
programs on the ground. Always good. Keep people in place and alive. Veg management and reforestation, pretty standard stuff. One thing that I noticed was they're talking about fire-safe electrical corridors. The Paradise Fire that has come up a couple of times. That was started by sparks from a transformer, and so doing anything to mitigate that, it should be held on. Should be done by the actual businesses that should not be businesses, should be done by them, and they should be gutted like a carp if anything jumps off of their electrical lines. But hey, doing what you can on the federal level, I think is super important. And we know that these are
that's another one where they're back to those categorical exclusions. That was something that they put in there is vegetation management in these power line right of ways. Right of ways, rights of way. I don't know.
Rights of way.
It's fine.
Close enough.
Yeah, that has a categorical exclusion now, or it would under this bill.
Which is again really great because that gets more stuff done.
That's how you use it the right way.
Yeah. Yep. So the next thing that attracted my attention was the Seeds for Success strategy. Seeds of Success strategy.
So did they just forget that we already have the National Seed Strategy, or
Yes.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, yes.
Because we already have that, and
Yep.
it is pretty much exactly what this says.
Yep.
So
does it actually attach any? Yeah. So we're gonna have two of them, and do either of them get any money? The answer is no.
No. No, that's a very hard no.
Yeah. Yeah. So why would you need seeds? Seeds are gay. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. It's just okay, great. No, all this stuff makes sense, and like you were saying, AJ, you just look at the seed program that we already have in place, and you're like, it's mostly the exact same. And again, doesn't say anything for where any of this money is coming from. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this,
but
their nursery, the Forest Service nursery program, has written several great books that John, you and I both have.
Oh yeah,
they're foundational to any nursery.
Yeah.
The problem is that program has been gutted.
Yeah, so 2008 basically killed a lot of the forest and state nursery system. And if there's another recession, I can't depending on how bad it is, I don't know how many can survive. Because, well, why do we need a nursery? The private industry will be able to handle it.
Spoiler alert: the private industry is dead. There is there are very few nurseries left out there. And some of them are great, and a lot of them are trash. And there's one or two that are really good, and they cover 8 states basically. Yeah, and they can't get enough acorns to meet their demand. Hence the seeds program. Anyway,
yes, yeah, So that's great stuff. Needs to be better. Here we go. Promotion of workforce development within the reforestation chain. Hey, work sucks butts. This reforestation specifically is very much it's a lot like farming. I found it's not. It's a lot of hard work and not a lot of returns. I should say farming
Well, I sell my trees for between $1 and $4.
That's pretty good. You must have cocaine field trees or something like that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's not a high margin industry.
No, it's not. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's near not gonna strike it rich, and at least some portions, specifically the seed collecting side of things, is such a low margin for a lot of folks. And some nurseries, you have to get it from a wild stand. Have you ever tried collecting white oaks from a wild stand? It's a pain in the ass.
You have to dig around leaves for acorns, and then you're also fighting squirrels and blue jays and everything else out there they live their entire life to dig around the fucking leaves.
I have to
they're
go
way better
home.
at it.
I have to pay for health insurance. They don't have to. Granted, they also get attacked by a coyote, but whatever.
Yeah, but you don't need health insurance if you've been eaten.
uh, Anyways, moving on. Transparency and technology and partnerships. So, this one, they try to make biochar happen. Does anyone want to tell people what biochar is?
Biochar is it's the world's coolest solution that doesn't work.
Yeah, basically.
It's a lot of fun. It can do a lot of cool things in the research, and then in real life, it doesn't get used.
Anything. Yeah, so biochar, and correct me if I'm wrong, is basically small charcoal. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's, I mean, at the end of the day, like, lump charcoal for your grill is like, chunks the size of your fist, right? Biochar is basically small flakes. It's really cool. I've fucked around with it a little bit for, like, putting in my little seedling grow pots. I add it to our garden beds at our house, like, but that's one goober with a fire pit in his backyard, not 10,000 acres of a national forest system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can
turns
be
out
used for a lot of things like soil
you don't
amendments
need that much of it.
Yeah. It's also too expensive.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it comes down to transport costs.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bulk good that doesn't have a high margin that a lot of people can make out of a lot of different stuff. And so it's, yeah. Anyways, they try to make...
If only we had, like, some sort of infrastructure that was really good at moving bulk materials long distances travel on, like, a set path,
Yeah,
so
and, like, on regular
impossible.
schedules.
This is
and
impossible.
Be like, we could just stop at regular stops.
Nope.
Like,
what you're
stations,
describing is an
them.
impossibility.
Yeah, that's true.
Give up.
Yeah,
Go home.
and move, like, relatively quickly. It wouldn't have to be, like, lightning speed, but, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that technology's been lost. I think we can maybe hope that we get, like, a boring tunnel situation set up.
Yeah,
and they can carry it. Yeah. So, like, yeah, they want to try and continue to make biochar happening. I don't know who Big Biochar is, but I don't know where the money is coming from to write an entire section in this bill. Calvin, you may have more insights, but, like, I don't know.
There's some like, the funny thing about biochar.
Who is Big Biochar?
Like, okay, I like the idea of biochar, and then you start, like, working at it, and you, like, run into people who are like, dude, this is just activated carbon. Like, biochar gets real culty real fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
It's like, that's what it is. Like, to me, it's like, yeah, you just, like, you ran a retort for, like, regular lump charcoal, and you had a bunch of small shit come out, and you're like, oh, I'll just toss this on my garden bed, and you're just like, okay, cool. It'd be great if, like, every single farmer in the Midwest, like, had to do a pass every couple of years, or ended up doing
it's
passes.
also as a soil. This is to get too far in the weeds. As a soil element, it's good for some things and bad for other things. So, like, it's like the world's best solution without a problem, and it also doesn't scale. Because, like, it's too expensive. Like, it's like $200 per cubic foot right now, and that's too expensive to throw on the ground.
Yeah, that's actually a lot. Anyways, yeah, so so that's biochar. We continue to try and make biochar happen because we can't think of anything else. One thing that I ran into was the Government Accountability Office study on Forest Service policies. This one was something that I was very suspicious of, just in the light of the current government, was basically the effectiveness of Forest Service wildland operations, an evaluation of the Forest Service wildland fire operations, transparency in the budget and accounting process of the Forest Service, the suitability and feasibility of establishing new federal agency for the wildfire on federal lands, like you said, Calvin, and then the results. So I think this is where they're trying to, like, force the issue of either gutting the Forest Service more or lopping off, 55% of the Forest Service into something else.
I mean, it's kind of like hard to gut it any more than they are. Like, they can, but it's gonna be tough to gut it more.
I mean, you probably thought that with, like, whatever the hell the Doge nonsense chuckle fucks were doing, like,
yeah.
But they still ended up gutting whole departments that were, institutions for American soft power. Like,
that's true.
I have no. Yeah, I don't think it's, and there's enough people in, like, random states in the West that just have a hard on for, like, returning this land to the rightful
Cattle
owners.
ranchers.
No, not the Native American. Yeah, not the Native Americans. No, the ranchers who were there that settled there in the 1960s. So
Yeah, so the Forest Service like used to be like a premier organization that everyone like around the world tried to like emulate, but it's not anymore. Forest Service research like in the 2000s was up to 3,000 people. It's currently under 1,000.
which is horrifying because that's hands down one of the best things about the Forest Service is the research department. Like,
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
that is one of the best things. Like, I have used so many Forest Service reports going back literally 100 years at this point.
Yep.
Like, some of it's just like fun resources to look at, but like other times it's actually like super relevant stuff, and it's
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. It
And
could
it's
solve
and
a
the
lot
thing
of
of
problems
forestry
that
is
we're-
like it's a 100-year time cycle, right? Like you gotta have something that's gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, and this is an intentional cutting. Like the Forest Service was intentionally destroyed, and again, like why was it intentionally destroyed? Well, just like John
Reagan.
talked about, it was to, force the sale of land by some, by Western ranchers who wanted Forest Service land.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yep.
very like they've been very clear about why they're doing it.
Yep, the entire time. I mean, it's the same thing for a lot of insane right-wing libertarian idiots who don't believe there should be a public anything.
No.
Anyways,
Anyway.
container aerial firefighting system. I have no idea what this means. I'm assuming it means the aerial, like the old ass air tankers that we have. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it looks like we're gonna look at it and make sure that's going good.
It's
or
not.
Yeah, spoiler alert. We need new planes, and no one's gonna give anyone money for new planes.
Also, those pilots are insane.
Oh yeah, if they're not on meth, they've got balls of steel. Study on pine beetle infestation. I don't know what the hell the point of this is. Hey, pine beetles are So to carry out a study related to the cause, effects, and solution for an infestation of pine beetles in the northeast of the United States.
Oh, because southern pine beetle's expanding its range massively.
Yeah. So yeah,
With
no, I know.
climate change.
Yeah, I was gonna say study causes, climate change, effects of all the white pine are gonna die. Solutions
dead
for
trees.
dead tree. Yeah, effects of a lot of dead trees. Solutions for diverse planting mixtures, healthy white pine forest, no climate change. I've solved it all. Give me $1 billion. Anyways,
Come on, you can have like $100,000. This is Forest Service research.
true, but I can submit that report, and hopefully I can get it. Okay, so. Moving swiftly along to White Oak Resilience. So, the White Oak Restoration Initiative Coalition.
Oh wait, did the Senate report cut out the second head of the Forest Service, headquarters of the Forest Service office?
It may be snuck in somewhere, but yeah, so far.
Oh, damn it! That was the
Hadn't seen
funniest thing in the bill. In the House version,
So what was it?
there's got the House version called
They were gonna make a second headquarters for the Forest Service.
yeah,
for
it
the
had to be in the
western
Western
half of
United States.
Which that's fine.
Makes
No,
sense.
it's stupid. It's stupid. You have a headquarters. You don't have multiple headquarters.
You have regional headquarters.
They have regional headquarters. The regions
it's
have
called-
their
I mean,
own
yeah,
headquarters.
I was gonna say each region, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Do you-
sense. Anyway,
why do you have two headquarters? You don't have two headquarters. You have a headquarters.
fair enough. Doesn't matter. Hopefully it got cut out. I don't know what the hell the reconciliation process is going to look like.
I don't. That was just me and all of my Eastern feelings. Well, the West isn't that cool. We have nice things in the East.
So this White Oak Restoration Initiative is a big thing that's been slowly rolled out and then kicked in the balls by COVID and then Trump too. So we don't know where the hell we're standing right now.
They
I
are
don't-
hiring a new person in charge. If you're looking for a job
Not
of the White Oak
do I have to
Initiative,
move?
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a really cool thing. Basically, it's a very necessary thing. So we can probably do a couple of episodes on White Oak and its trials. But basically, there's
will.
not,
We
and we will. We definitely will. You get foresters talking about oak, and 8 beers later we'll have a solution
Bourbons.
to all the
We'll be
world's
having
problems.
bourbons.
Yeah, oh, true. Yeah.
Okay, they need but first before we get into this, they need to tighten up the naming on this shit because you've got the White Oak Restoration Initiative Coalition.
That's what it's called.
That's fucking stupid.
Okay, you're not wrong. I'm just telling you.
White
where
Oak
it's going.
Restoration Initiative. Done.
Yeah, you don't need coalition.
So-
White Oak Restoration Coalition. Done.
So-
you don't need Initiative Coalition.
Okay, so what they call it is the White Oak Initiative, is what everyone calls it. So the White Oak
Yeah.
Initiative is
There
a
you go,
thing
done.
that exists. It is and it's an NGO that is funded by states. I don't think it has Fed money, but also private industry, as particularly the bourbon industry. And the focus of the White Oak Initiative is to preserve and conserve and grow more white oak. Because without
Which
white oak,
is-
you don't get bourbon.
Which is a great thing. Like, honestly, it is probably the best.
Yeah.
It's really good. The problem is, unfortunately, white oak takes two things: time and money. Both of which no one wants to seem to give it, or very few people.
Yes.
So this does a lot of good stuff, kind of generally.
I like the White Oak
Interesting.
Initiative, and I say we give them more money.
Well, that's what I was going to try and figure out was, I don't know. Subject to the availability of appropriations made in advance for that purpose, the secretary may make funds available to the coalition to carry out this section, which is, it looks like it's just research.
Yeah, they
which
do,
is
they've
good.
done a bunch of fantastic research. To be really honest, like they've done some really great research, and I
the
don't just
pamphlets
say
they
that
have-
because I'm friends with people who have gotten their money in the past.
I was going to say the pamphlets that they came out with, like from a forester perspective, of just like just walking you through stuff, are very well done. It's recently updated too, which is really good. It's all good stuff. However, my thing is like, great. I still still got to figure out a way to get money to the landowners in a lot of cases, because
Well, how you do that is it's called NRCS.
Yeah. NRCS
Yeah.
exists for that purpose.
Yeah.
no, I know. I'm just saying, like, you got to make it like a 75% cost share or something like that for like specifically white oak stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's usually what that's if they make it a tree planting practice under EQIP, that's what it'll be. That's because EQIP is supposed to be 75% cost share rate for everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It barely hits 50 out here.
Well, that's
Skill
your
issue,
state-
baby.
That's your
know.
state. Honestly, that's your state technical committee.
Oh,
Fucking the dog on that one, because they're the one that comes up with the rate, and it's supposed to be an average of the cost across the state.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, because that, like, the Longleaf Pine Initiative is a thing.
As
Yeah,
is
I think
the
that's-
short.
It's the
I think
same
that's-
exact thing.
Yep. No, and I think that's what they're shooting for.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah,
I think
that'd be good.
no, it does. It's probably it's about the same as a longleaf for like potential biodiversity, especially in like the interchange between like the woodland and the forest and the prairie ecosystem out here in the western edge of the range. Like, you can get a lot of really cool wildlife in there. Anyways, so basically it goes through this and basically says white oak is important. We got to figure out how to keep more white oak on the landscape. And big thing too that it addresses is, hey, there's no nurseries that grow enough trees, and we have enough shortages of good seedlings for white oak restoration. We got to fix that. I'm like, yeah. You're right.
Golly.
That's correct. Golly gee, we've only been saying this for my entire
Ever since I started to put trees in the ground, I realized, you can't do it. Shit, damn, boys.
all of the trees are from like the same 6 80-year-old tree seed collectors, and they're gonna die one of these days, and they're not gonna tell anyone where they got their seed from. So
Nope.
good luck. So anyways, it does a lot of really, really, really good stuff about white oak forests, and I think that is really it's good. Obviously, it needs a whole shit ton of money and a bunch of other stuff, but it gets the ball rolling, and I think they're going to try and mirror it like the what the hell, Longleaf Initiative down south, which turned out, I think, pretty dang good. AJ?
I think so.
Yeah, too good. We have too many of them.
Well, okay. The
I
White
guess-
Oak Initiative was also established. It's been around since like 2018, so it's not a new thing, and they have been doing good work. You know.
Oh no,
while they've
I'm
been
just saying
around.
they got kneecapped by COVID happening, and
Yeah.
that stalled. Like, they got like a little bit of I remember meeting them when they just got started down in Louisville, and then COVID happened next year, and then they just got kneecapped, and then that just stalled out any growth and forward momentum for a couple years, and then Trump 2 and the questions of budgets and all that sort of stuff started kicking in again. So
they've produced a lot of fantastic research. So like,
no, they have, and I think they worked together with the University of Kentucky to put together like some advanced, like actually like do genetic selection, so like, kind of like loblolly.
Oh, they've done
selection.
a lot of work with UK.
Yeah, so like and to like select for higher productivity, like either higher acorn production or higher growth or higher diameter stuff. So they're finally starting to roll out those selected seedlings.
Yeah, UK's eating good on white oak money right now, which they should be.
I mean, they should. They should. That's it's the center of the white oak belt, so I can't begrudge them for that. And then we've got a discussion about casualty and assurance for firefighters injured or killed on the job. Yeah,
good.
No, that's correct. That's good and correct.
That's
you should
good.
do that. Yeah. It's got a bunch of other language changes and other stuff.
I wish, and I know it wouldn't, but I do wish my wish list for the casualty assistance for firefighters would include longer term smoke exposure kind of.
Yes,
that's going to be incredibly
stuff.
Yeah, there's an increasing body of evidence on that. I was just telling someone today about that, and it's.
I think we're past the point of increasing body of evidence, and it's just like, it is a thing.
Yeah, I was just telling somebody today. They were like, "I want to get into wildland fire," and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, like cancer, is probably a thing for you. Then
you will probably get cancer."
Yeah. Much like you can just skip them. You can come to Iowa, or you can be a wildland firefighter. Either way, you can get cancer. It's really great.
Well, that was that's not. That was
sorry, I shouldn't have ended. I may change that and edit.
Well, and hey, if you don't get cancer, you might just get silicosis from all the dust and silica and everything. So there's that.
He's bad.
Yeah. So we need to figure out how to do like a long-term disability. I'm not sure if it's long-term disability program for like kind of like how you have a disability payment if you're coming out of the military, and you have
your lung cancer was not service related.
yeah, exactly. Things of that were.
In fairness to the Forest Service, a lot of wildland firefighters smoke a lot.
This is true.
That is
this
actually
is very
true.
true.
Okay, well they've gotten into Zin now, so
yeah.
Great. It's now mouth cancer.
It'll be a different cancer of some kind, I'm sure.
So there are some other matters about forest watershed programs and trying to mitigate risk on watersheds that were damaged during fires and other natural disasters. I'm gonna say that we're gonna skip over this because I tried to keep this at an hour and we're basically about at an hour and a half.
I told you we couldn't do it.
I
but
tried.
We also had your technical error.
Yeah, no, we did. We had
I was going to say,
pipes froze.
A good, Good,
so,
good
do we have
minutes
any...
of John trying to get his internet to work?
Yeah, that's on me. That's 100%. I blame the weather entirely.
The tubes froze.
Tubes froze. So with that, do you guys have any last thoughts on
well,
the
I
law?
think we need to rate this bill. Is this looking at the totality of the United States and the problems facing it?
Oh God.
Did we do it? Did we save the city?
I'd say there's more good than bad.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's like a solid 65 if I was grading the paper.
That's a failure.
That's a D. That gets you
okay.
It gets you scraping by. Doesn't get you success.
We went to different schools.
Yeah,
no, we had different success measures of success. I scraped by the skin of my teeth. You guys got master's degrees.
We've never encouraged anyone to go to grad school.
No, not once. In fact, I actively discouraged it.
I think it's a solid. I think it's a solid C.
I agree with that. I don't. It's
Yeah.
not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Honestly, having all the shit crossed off from the house that helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the shit that was crossed out was some of the bad stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's overall, like I said, better, more good than bad.
I don't think that we saved the city. To do meme recap, I don't think we are SpongeBob and Patrick standing in front of the city. I don't think we saved it.
It's definitely a Band-Aid type deal.
I don't even think it's a Band-Aid. I think that it will do some good things, but it's not going to stop the bleeding.
No, and I think
That's what Band-Aids do.
Three
Band-Aids stop bleeding, and this does not stop the bleed.
That's true. I think we all agree that the major issue with it is there's no funding source.
Yeah, it
doesn't
matter.
say we're going to allocate, or at least it doesn't explicitly say. And
Yeah.
I'm not a professional bill reader, so maybe there's a funding source in there that some weird staffer says, oh yeah, if you look on Title 3 subsection A, blah 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 blah, it's there. I didn't see it. I'll say I'm a roughly average American. If I didn't see it, there's no funding. So
Yeah.
make it more clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless we're explicitly stating, hey, here's $10,000 or here's $10,000. Yeah, $10,000 didn't go far. Here's $10 million to go do fuels mitigation. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it at least identifies problems. It does a lot of double counting, if you will. A couple of the fire things are definitely double counting. Like the fire shed stuff, I think I can go either way on, but a couple of the other operations and things it's trying to do, I think we kind of double count on in some respect. But yeah.
I mean, just from my perspective, giving the Forest Service more work does not help. You don't get any points for giving the Forest Service more work. The Forest Service is made up of a lot of good folks who want to do good stuff, but they don't have the people to do things.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Yep.
they don't have the money to do things. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You
if
can
you
tell
can't-
the Forest Service already wants to save the forest. They can't do it because they don't have anything.
Yeah, and it's not like you can make this up with volunteers or something like that.
No.
That's you at some point you need to have a guy who knows what he's doing go into the forest and mark a tree or flag a line or enter data or something like that. It's not all vibe space.
Nope.
You can't do it with volunteers. If you want to if we're starting from the point of we want to have a forest, and given the Republicans who are leading this, you may or may not want a forest, but starting from the perspective that we want a forest at the end of this, most people agree yeah, man, we're not gonna do anything insane. Yeah,
I mean, this doesn't
the fact that
touch
we're getting
invasive
forced
species at all.
Yep.
So
well, it doesn't touch the eastern United States. The closest it comes is the White Oak Initiative, which, again, good stuff, but needs triple the amount of money and doesn't. Yeah, but at the same time too, it is one of the few pieces of ecology related legislation that comes out of the United States government or could come out of the United States government. So that's a thing, and it's not all terrible saying nope, we're going to sell every single ounce of public land to the highest bidder. It's not that, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it probably will do more good than bad, and in the worst case, it'll do a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah,
is kind of my
that's
read
fair.
of it. It's putting more work on the Forest Service that will ultimately just not get done because there's no money to do it. And hey, that's business as usual. So it's another in a long line of pieces of paper.
Yep.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
that's about
pulp
it.
industry or something, right?
yeah, just looking at the title. I don't think that we saved the forest.
No, it's definitely not to fix our forest. It's at best we put a Band-Aid on a patient that has gushing gallons of blood.
Yeah, it's a
Do you have a
start.
gallon of blood?
Yeah, I think you get pints.
You got,
Sure.
you
Gills?
got
Yeah.
multiple pints.
Yeah. Anyways,
Like eight-
you're
well,
losing
maybe
a lot
eight
of.
pints.
I got
you're-
multiple
you're-
pints in me. Ayo,
Hey.
it's a beer joke.
Yeah, you're losing a lot of blood, and you're putting a little kid Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
I think is the best, and yeah. So
Yeah, it's
cautiously.
it's not that bad, and it's not that good.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
I would say it's far better than I would have expected from this administration, this House, and this Senate.
Yeah. Well, and given the text that I received and sent on to you guys as well, because I, again, didn't look at anything, just said, oh my God, it's the worst.
It's all burning down.
It's all burning down. It's going away. It's like, it's actually mostly the same, and it doesn't actually do anything. It just gives more work to the National Forest Service, or the National Forest Service. Yeah. The Forest Service, and just like, okay, go do it. Do we get any more money? No. Do you have 18 more jobs? Yes.
Do you have people to do them? Also,
no.
Fun fact, no.
Mm-mm.
Are you going to be able to hire them? No, we're still going to be in a hiring freeze for the next 20 years, and the starting wage will be $15 an hour after everyone else has gone up to 30 or something like that. Yeah. So that's our first look at legislation, and we picked a doozy. So hopefully this was an interesting one. It's our first try at it, so hopefully
next time we'll go over the whole farm bill.
Well, we can do that really fast because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. There isn't one.
I
gave up on going to listening sessions.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
Yeah. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
No. I suppose we could if we get a 2026 one. We'll see.
Friendship with the farm bill ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
She just got old and died. That's just all that happened.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she stopped calling you back, or she. Yeah. Anyways.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. That's an episode, everyone.
That is an episode.
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, rate 5
Send
stars.
us an email at seedpod.pod@gmail.com.
Awesome. Yeah. That's it. I think I'm going to try and move this guy up the edit chain since it's a little bit more relevant. But yeah.
If you are a congressional staffer listening to this, that's a surprise. First of all, you must have been lost. But thank you for listening to this.
Why are you?
Thank you, but why?
Second of all, do better, dog. Like, there are lots of other nations that have like functioning like forest policy. This is a start. We can do much better.
We could actually have a forest policy instead of this.
Yeah. So I appreciate you learning and trying to do better, but like we're all just saying, do better.
Yeah. Okay. On that positive note, see everybody later.
All right. Bye.
See you next time.
Oh, no.